Beautiful, beautiful good morning. Welcome to How to Go About It. Of course, it's a new normal. I'm speaking to NAQEZ Executive Director, Mr. Chansa. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Waddy. Good morning, Zambia. I'm happy to be on your show.
Yeah, these COVID things, we can't be meeting as often as we want to, hey?
Yeah, you see, we have been hit hard. Distances are now becoming wider, and we need to live with the new normal. Technology is now helping us very much.
All right, awesome stuff. So, sir, of course, you did release a press statement on 11th of August, actually. You have released it, actually. And you are disappointed with ZESCO. And it says Zambia Electricity Supply Corporation, ZESCO, has hugely disappointed the National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NAQEZ, for failing to craft a special electricity tariff for all schools in the country. On the 20th of July 2020, we pleaded with the utility company to consider giving public and private schools a more affordable and sustainable tariff. This is simply because the social tariff is too high, unfriendly to schools, to provision of education, and is an unsustainable wrong. Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, it is very harsh for poor primary schools to be spending more than $3,000 per month on electricity. As a country, we have not been funding schools enough for them to meet demands such as this one. The resource draining electricity situation is more critical among boarding schools, which are spending more than $25,000 per month on the commodity. If nothing is done soon, most of these schools will be without power for cooking and studying. This will have several educational consequences. We make our last plea to the Minister of Energy, Honorable Matthew Nkua, to pay attention to the genuine cries of schools across the country and quickly give them a tariff that they can afford. We fear that the social tariff will prevent many schools from carrying out important practical examinations in computer studies and home economics, among others. If ZESCO remains adamant over this critical matter, NAQEZ shall proceed to petition the Republican President for this intervention, issued by Chansa, Executive Director. So, sir, why do you see the need for ZESCO to drop tariffs?
Very, very important question, Waddy, and I must state that we at the area pleaded with the utility company, which is ZESCO. We wanted the company to reduce the cost of electricity for schools, simply because our schools are very poor. First of all, they're not well funded by the government. They can't afford this social tariff. It's very, very unsustainable. And secondly, during this period of COVID, most of our learners are at school. They are not paying school fees, and our schools are very, very broke. Our view is that ZESCO must not make life difficult for our schools, must not be inimical to education. It must be supportive to education, and that's why we are saying that they must craft a special tariff for schools. The current one is very, very high. Imagine poor schools spending not less than 3,000 kwacha per month just on electricity. It is very much worse for boarding schools, which are now spending more than 25,000 per month. And we feel that this is injurious to our education. It is going to have very, very irreparable damage to school-based assessments. Most of our schools are going to fail to buy this commodity and consequently fail to carry out very, very important practical exams in HE and also computer studies. So we are going to insist that ZESCO should listen to our cry, to the cry of many schools across the country, and we are making the last appeal to the minister to prevail over ZESCO, because this matter is very, very important in our view.
So from the 20th of July to date, you haven't received a response?
Not yet. Remember, we issued a statement to the media, and we know that ZESCO got our plea. and we expected ZESCO to come forth, provide an answer to our suggestion, because clearly schools cannot afford this tariff. It's too high. Some of our schools, for example, in the Central Province, in the dark, they have not managed to buy units. You know, the social tariff is very expensive for our schools. Schools are not making money. Schools are not profit making. They are service providers. And we think that just like ZESCO is able to subsidize units for its employees. Imagine ZESCO workers get 1,000 units for 50 kwacha. We think this can be extended to schools in order to promote quality education in this country.
Now, at the moment, you are aware we have a power crisis. Just recently, we're having this interview today on the 11th, but just recently, you saw 130 megawatts being not coming through in the grid, in the national grid, which ZESCO says will even extend the load shedding hours. Are you sure we are able, ZESCO have the capacity to reduce tariffs on all schools across the country? Because at the moment, ZESCO does need that funding.
But you cannot strengthen the strong by weakening the weak or killing the weak. You know, education is very important for any nation. There's no country that can rise above the levels of its education, just like there's no house that can be stronger than its foundation. So when you look at sectors of the economy, one of the most important sectors is education. Every other country is trying by all means to support education. You cannot, again, promote education by making it very, very difficult for these schools to afford this important commodity. So when you look at statistics, you discover that if you was to think critically, look at other sectors, for example, the mines. I'm sure we can be able to salvage some units, which must be able to be used to subsidize the cost of electricity towards to go towards education. You cannot, for example, give one person who works for ZESCO 1,000 units for 50 kwacha and charge a very poor school at the current rate. It's not making sense, it's not adding up, and we think that the government, the machinery, should be work out modalities to be able to help these poor schools.
Okay, so have you engaged the Ministry of Education to talk to ZESCO in your plea?
We have had discussions where we have indicated that schools are not affording this kind of tariff. Obviously, the Ministry of General Education cannot come out in the open to speak for itself, because it's government within government. Our role is to speak out for these schools, and obviously school managers cannot come out in the open to demand for a more fair, for a more support, but NAQEZ is there to speak for them.
You're still watching us on How to Go About It right here on Diamond TV. I am speaking to NAQEZ Executive Director, Mr. Chansa, live on our Zoom call from Kafue and coming through to our Lusaka studios. So, sir, if you don't hear, you put an ultimatum at the end of your statement. You are saying you engage the president.
Yes, serious about we are going to give for 2 weeks to our and weeks of energy, Honorable Matthew Nkoa, to guide leadership over this. It's not can gross over. It's something that and if he's not going to take interest in our case, then we are going to straight away go and petition the president, because we think that the president values education, and education is the pillar of this country, and we are hopeful that the president listens to our cry. We are going to go ahead and petition the president.
Okay, so Mr. Chansa, of course you have put a last statement at the end saying if ZESCO does not listen to your plea, you go to the president.
Yes. We are going to give ZESCO and the Minister of Energy, Honorable Matthew Nkuwa, 2 weeks from now, in which they must respond to our plea, because education is critical, and we cannot use this tariff to kill the already struggling system in our country. And we also hold the view that the president values education. So after 2 weeks, if ZESCO will be adamant, we are going to proceed to petition the president so that we can get his interview. We want to get his attention to get this done once and for all. So we are serious. We mean business to petition the president.
Mr. Aaron, thank you very much for coming on How to Go About It, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Right, you see with us on How to Go About It. Thank you very much for staying tuned. That is Mr. Aaron, the Executive Director of NAQEZ, petitioning ZESCO on dropping the tariffs. What is your view? Let us know. Send us your comments on Diamond TV Zambia. Until next week, it's Waddy Michael.